Hey guys, this is Brownie Boy TV here with your Litheo GBA Round 4 Game of the Week. Next matchup, we've got Ryan Keiss, who's Riley, against Jody, who's the crazy IGN there. Riley's decided to bring his Masquerain, Mew, Porygon 2, Mamoswine, Machamp, and Mega Blastoise, while Jody's going to bring his Slowking, Scizor, Electivire, Armaldo, Mega Charizard X, and Greninja. This is going to be a pretty good match. It's really close. Both these battlers are pretty solid, but they haven't been able to quite get things going so far. Riley, I believe, at this point in the league was at 0-3, and Jody was at 1-2. So both of them were struggling going into this match. But as we get into it, you'll see that they've both stepped up their game, I'd say, for this week. There's a great amount of good plays in this one, and I just think that they both did their homework and they both knew what they wanted to do coming into this match. I'd say that the Porygon 2 is definitely a threat for Riley just because he's got Recover, Toxic Stall, huge moveset, and then for Jody, I'd definitely say his Electivire is probably one of his best Pokemon on his team. So let's get into this one as Jody's issuing the challenge. So Jody decides to lead off with his Greninja while Riley leads off with his Masquerain. Riley tends to lead off with his Masquerain because he likes to set up sticky webs, and it also helps because he got the Intimidate, even though Masquerain's so frail that the Intimidate usually doesn't matter even against physical attackers. So his Greninja goes for an Ice Beam here, which knocks down Masquerain to his Focus Sash, so it's obviously expected. Masquerain has no bulk at all, so Jody reveals that he's got a Life Orb Greninja as he loses some health there, and Riley just sets up the Sticky Web. So right here, Riley decides to switch out his Masquerain because he might want to say that later just for something to sack off or whatever. And so he goes out into his Machamp, and Jody makes a pretty smart play here. He goes out and he decides to U-turn with his Greninja, so then he can go out and pick whoever he wants to get a better matchup here. So Jody decides that he's going to go out and choose Armaldo because he wants to get rid of those sticky webs. So Jody goes out to his Armaldo here, and his Armaldo's just able to go for this Rapid Spin, obviously, because he's bulky enough that he can take any hit that this Machamp wants to throw at him. So Machamp goes for the Stone Edge, Armaldo's able to take it and is able to use Rapid Spin and get rid of those sticky webs. So Armaldo did his job as far as Jody's concerned at this point. So Armaldo's going to gain his leftovers back right here. He's got just over half, so Jody could swap him out, but I don't think he'd have a safe switch in for a Stone Edge from Machamp. So he decides to stay in, and he goes for Stealth Rocks here as he gets hit by another Stone Edge, which almost takes him out. And had a pretty decent chance to get a crit since it has a high crit ratio, but he's able to live it. So right here, Jody gets more leftover recovery, and then he's going to take this Dynamic Punch from Machamp, which he's not going to be able to take up at all. It's just going to KO him, especially from that range. So Machamp gets the first kill of the game there. So Jody brings in his Charizard, and Riley decides to stay in with his Machamp here. I'm not entirely sure why. I don't think that he would have been able to live this Flare Blitz from the Mega Charizard X regardless of the crit or not. But it probably would have been close. I would have to calc it. But so Machamp goes down to Flare Blitz there from the Charizard, and Charizard gets a decent amount of recoil from it. So at this point, Riley decides to bring in his Mamoswine, and I'm not sure why Jody decided to stay in here, because I'd say that him bringing in his Mamoswine pretty much showed that it was Choice Scarfed. So Jody leads in his Charizard, and his Charizard gets killed by the Choice Scarf Mamoswine's Earthquake. So and Jody makes another strange play here as he goes down to his Greninja. I'm not sure if he thought that he would outspeed still, but so Mamoswine's able to take out the Greninja also, almost from full health with that Earthquake. So Riley's definitely changed momentum just by scarfing his Mamoswine, which is, I'm not going to say it's typical, but it's definitely rising in popularity, that said. So Jody brings in his Scizor now, which he should have gone out to in the first place. So Riley doesn't want to stay in with his Mamoswine and take up a Bullet Punch or whatever Jody's going to hit him with. So he goes on to his Masquerain, who gets killed automatically by the Stealth Rocks there. So at this point, Riley decides to bring in his Mew, and Mew takes some more Stealth Rock damage as Jody, who I'm not sure if he's choiced or not at this point, but so Jody swaps out into his Slowking. So Slowking versus Mew, and Mew goes for a Flamethrower. So Jody made a good switch there because Scizor probably would have been Ochkud by that Flamethrower, but Slowking was able to eat it up easily. So Riley goes for a Calm Mind here, so he's trying to set up with his Mew, as Jody just goes for a Shadow Ball, and Shadow Ball is going to do a good amount of damage to this Mew, but obviously not going to be able to take it out. Mew's got so much just natural bulk with those straight 100 base stats, so then Riley's able to go for another Calm Mind, so he's at +2 special attack, +2 special defense, and Jody goes for a Scald here. I think he was just fishing for a burn. I'm not sure why else he would go for a Scald, because obviously Shadow Ball is going to do far more damage, and Riley goes for Super Fang on the next turn, revealing that he probably doesn't have another move other than Super Fang or Flamethrower to hit this Nidoking with, neither of which are going to do all that much. Super Fang does half your damage, half your health obviously, but so Jody just goes for another Shadow Ball, and then Riley goes for a Super Fang, which is going to miss. and then Jody's able to get off another Shadow Ball and has another special defense drop, which is pretty lucky for him. And Riley makes a strange play of going for a flamethrower here, which is going to do far less than Super Fang would have done, since Super Fang would have knocked him down to about 25%. So then Jody's able to just take out Mew with the Shadow Ball there. So Riley decides to bring in his Porygon 2 here, because Porygon 2 can wall this Slowking pretty hard. And he gets the trace, so he traces Regenerator, so whenever he swaps out, he's going to get a good majority of his health back. So then Jody's forced to swap out here, so he doesn't want to stay against his Porygon 2, and Jody actually makes a really good play here as he goes out into his Electivire. I think he was actually predicting the Thunderbolt there. So Jody's able to get the Motor Drive boost from the Thunderbolt from Porygon 2. So Jody actually makes a pretty good play here also. It would have been a good play against the Porygon 2, but it also worked out greatly in his favor since he's able to go for a Brick Break here from his Electivire. So Electivire is able to hit this Mamoswine really hard, knock him down to 4 HP. So Electivire at +1 speed apparently outspeeds a Mamoswine at +1 speed, since we know this Mamoswine's Choice Scarf. So Jody's able to knock out the Mamoswine there with a Brick Break, loses a little bit more health from his Life Orb recoil. So at this point Riley goes on to his Blastoise, and he makes some really smart play here, because Blastoise is going to take some Stealth Rock damage, but Riley doubles out with his Blastoise and goes out into Porygon 2. Porygon 2 is going to use Trace to get that Motor Drive boost, because Jody's obviously going to go for an Electric type move against the Blastoise to get super effective damage. So Riley made a really smart play there and baited Jody into the Electric type move. So now this Porygon 2's got speed boost there, so Jody goes out and uses his Brick Break against Porygon 2, so he's going to do a hefty amount of damage to him, lose some more recoil, and Porygon 2 is just going to go for the Stab, Tri-Attack, which is going to do a great amount of damage to Electivire, but Jody gets pretty unfortunate here, because I think he got an absolute minimum roll there when he knocked down that Porygon 2 to 1 HP. So it's pretty unlucky, but Riley, I'd say, made a smart play. Probably deserved to get the kill there, but so Electivire goes down to the next Tri-Attack from this Porygon. So Jody brings in his Scizor, and Scizor is just going to go for a Bullet Punch here and take out the Porygon 2. So I think that Riley knew that Jody was choiced in some way. I'm not sure, but I think he might have just assumed it. So Jody, I believe, is choiced and has to swap out his Scizor here as Riley brings in his Blastoise. So his Blastoise is his Mega Blastoise, because that's what he drafted, so we all knew it was Mega. So his Blastoise is going to Mega Evolve here, and he's just going to go for a Hydro Pump. And Jody makes a smart play by bringing in his Slowking against this Blastoise. So Slowking's obviously going to eat this Hydro Pump if it were to hit, but he's able to avoid the attack. And then Riley gets pretty fortunate here as he goes for Dark Pulse and he gets the flinch. Now, if he wouldn't have gotten that flinch, this game definitely would have gone in Jody's favor, because as you can see, he's able to knock out the Slowking with that next attack. And Slowking, I'm pretty sure Jody told me that had Grass Knot on it, which would have done a huge amount of damage if it wouldn't have Ochko'd this Blastoise. So Blastoise is able to go for a Hydro Pump here against the Scizor, which is going to knock him down well below half, so 2 will be able to knock him out. And Jody goes for a Choice Banded Bug Bite, I believe, knocks down this Blastoise to 4 HP. And from there, Blastoise is able to just go for a Dark Pulse, knock out the Scizor, and I believe that's a 1-0 in favor of Riley for this game. So that's everything from the Litheo GBA Round 4 Game of the Week, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see you next time.